Hello, my name is Triton, and welcome to Triton's Lodge. It's the latter part of September, and they're calling for a frost warning. Even though it's a very early frost for this growing area, I'm going along and I'm cutting off all of the tomatoes that I have that have any color to them whatsoever, sometimes ones that are even a little bit too green, in hopes of saving them from the coming frost. So, come along, I'm going to show you the little jungle that I've got going on here today. This year I have 17 different varieties of tomatoes. They were produced under very difficult circumstances, and we'll see what we have at the end. There's tons of green fruit left on all the vines. Be ashamed to lose it all, but we don't really have a choice. Something like this is a little bit too green. Chances are good that if I bring it inside, it's not going to ripen. I'd have to do something with it like fried green tomatoes or bottled green tomatoes. I don't have the skill level to do that, so I'm not going to be doing that this year. But look at how much fruit is still remaining that would be lost if a frost were to come this early. This growing season, 2018, in my zone, which is zone 6B, in Nova Scotia, Canada, we had very, very late frosts, very severe killing frosts halfway in June, which shortened the growing season. So I certainly do not want to lose even more when these things struggled so much to survive to begin with. We've got all kinds. Cherry tomatoes, plum tomatoes, some ripe, some not ripe. A lot of the varieties that I planted are actually cold hardy. Some of them should be able to survive a light frost without any shelter at all. I don't know how that's going to impact the fruit, even if the plant itself survives in a cold season like this. Chances are good that the fruit will not. I'll probably come back and do another video if we do get a frost to show you what happened. But of all the plants you want to be nipped by frost in September, tomatoes are not it. These are actually a perfect example. They've got just a barely littlest flush of color, but that flush of color will ripen indoors and they'll have the full flavor, or almost the full flavor, of a fruit that ripened on the vine. These ones, amethyst cream cherry tomatoes, are a little bit more difficult. They are a purple tomato, and they look dark purple for quite some time. They can be very difficult to tell if they're ripe, and I don't know at which point they're going to continue ripening indoors. I'm going to take them all and see what happens. Look at these beautiful fat alpaca tomatoes. If those get killed in the frost, I'm going to be very upset. Just loaded down. Can't reach those through the fence, so I'm going to go around to the other side. This is the very first video I'm filming. This is 2018, our very first growing season. When we moved in May, this was entirely lawn. There was no garden here whatsoever. All of this was plunked in with a great deal of haste and not a whole lot of organization. I'll tell you the full story of that some other time. This is my bed of kale and cruciferous with an eggplant in the middle. You can see they're being eaten to smithereens. Relentless. Gonna have to do something about that next year. This is the first time I've had a vegetable garden or any garden in ground. And you can see that this scarlet kale is doing significantly better. It's not being eaten, don't know why. This is more red and white Russian kale. This here is collard greens. They're getting somewhat eaten, not quite as bad as the Russian kale. But if we do have a temperature freeze, that'll kill off some of the bugs. This is the reason I'm out here today. I just picked up 3 strawberry plants, quite large ones, from a local garden center and shoved them in here with some mulch. That's not hay, that's weeds that were cut down from another part of the garden, used as mulch. And we'll be able to see how that works out. All you can see here is still our property. And basically I'm going to be taking you guys along. Just taking you guys, showing you what it looks like in the first stages of creating your own little urban homestead. This kind of thing happens a lot. Alright, let's go to the other side of the chain link fence. all kinds of tomatoes, big ones. See, if I took a tomato like that, I don't think it would ripen indoors. I could try, but I don't really want to risk it, just in case we don't get a frost this evening. It's very much a hedge your bets type of situation. Discovered this year that growing indeterminate heirloom tomatoes up a chain link fence can work, but only if you have a way to extend the fence line for when they get much taller than the fence. It does work very well for determinate tomatoes though. So if you need something to tie them to and all you've got is a chain link fence, go for it. Both sides of this fence are actually our property. This is a fence that existed when we purchased it. It's an enclosure for kids and pets. These ones are actually fully ripe. Oh, that one's fully ripe and has split. If you've ever heard of splitting tomatoes and you don't know what it means, that is what it means. We had a rain last night, or a couple days ago I should say, and it split right open. It absorbed too much liquid and the skin cracked. It won't store well, so there's no point in trying to do anything with that. Okay, some of these are just barely starting to turn, but I still think that's too early to take them indoors, so I'll have to deal with what I've got. That's my haul of unripe tomatoes for the day. Not too bad, not great. And hopefully we will not get a frost, and all this will have been for naught. But if we do, in the event that we do get a frost, hopefully we'll be able to save something. Thanks very much for visiting me on this very first video, and you have a great day.